Welcome everyone. I am someone who loves romance options in video games, especially in RPGs and JRPGs. I have seen that not a lot of people talk about this stuff on YouTube, so I just wanted to make my own list of games that I've played with romance options in them. Without further ado, here are some of the games with romance options in them. First game on the list is the Danganronpa series. This game is basically a high school murder mystery. It has visual novel styles and dark themes. The pros for this game are that this is a great story with amazing twists. It has great characters with depth and some decent backstories. There are 6 romanceable characters in each game for the main character to choose from. This is a highly recommended game even without the romance aspect. I would definitely suggest people to play this. Cons for this game are that it has almost no replay value. Once you know the story, it's pretty much the end. The game is not romance friendly in the main game, so you have to finish the whole game to be able to unlock a side story, which basically unlocks the romance options. And lastly, this is a visual novel, so it is not for everyone. It has less voice acting than usual games, so people who don't like to read too much might not enjoy this. But on the other hand, people who like visual novels will absolutely love this game. Next on the list we have the Conception 2. This is a mostly dating sim with JRPG elements. This one also has visual novel aspects to it, and the pros of this game are that it's a good and funny story. It has great characters with very good side characters as well. The romance and dating element is the main focus of the game. There are 7 characters that you can romance as the main character, and this one also has a harem route for the people who are interested. The cons for this game are that, again, this one also has almost no replay value. Once you know the story, it's pretty much the end of it. The difficulty spike near the end of the game makes the game almost unplayable. It is very annoying to get the final ending because of how crazy the difficulty spike is at the end. And me personally, I wouldn't give this a very high recommendation. It is a good game, the romance is amazing, but I still don't think it's a great game, and especially because of the difficulty spikes, and the dungeon crawling is not that good in this game. So it is a recommendation, just not a high one. The third game on the list is Sakura Wars. Now this is a great action RPG game with a focus on romance elements as well as mech combat. So the pros for this game are it's a fantastic story with amazing soundtrack. People who have played the game will definitely agree on that. The characters are great and the side characters are also great. All of them have pretty decent depth to them. Again, this game also has romance and dating elements as the main focus of the game. There are 4 romanceable characters with great detail. The game also has hilarious dialogue options for anyone to choose from. So you can actually play the game how you want, with the most random and weird dialogues as well as the most funny dialogues as well. The cons for these games are that it is exclusively on the PlayStation Network. Combat in this game is fun, but it can easily get repeated and gets boring really fast. So people who don't like repetitive combat will definitely not enjoy this. Me personally, I did enjoy it, but I also agree that it did get boring after a while. The story is slow and it does take its time to ramp up, so it definitely can get boring. And of course, this game is also not for everyone. This game has too many anime tropes, as people say. Now, me personally, I don't mind them at all, but I just want to let everyone know that it does have those tropes. So if you don't like them, you might not enjoy this, but if you are a big fan of anime, you are definitely gonna have fun in this game. The fourth game in the list is the Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Now I have played Engage as well, but I still think 3 Houses is the better game, so I'm just gonna mention that one. Now this is a great strategy RPG with grid-based combat and a great story. As for the pros, this is an independent game, so you don't have to play all the previous games to understand this one. The story is great and has a wealth of characters, probably the most amount of characters that you will ever see in an RPG. The game is challenging with the permadeath system, so every move that you make must be very careful, as you can lose a unit at any time and never get them back. But at the same time, it does have an option to be switched off for a more casual playthrough. The combat is great with lots of strategies and classes to try out for different playstyles. And this game also has a lot of replay value, but just for the battles, not much for the story. As for the cons for this game, romance, again, it's not the main aspect for this game, but at the end you can get married to someone, so it's pretty much the other type of game where usually it's only the choice at the end that matters. This game is also only available on the Switch, and this one is also not for everyone if they don't like strategy combat. This is different from the usual RPG and JRPG combat. On to the fifth game in the list is the Trails of Cold Steel series. Now this one is a fantastic JRPG through and through, and it has everything a JRPG should have. Personally, one of my favorite series that I've ever played. Now the pros for these games are that it's an amazing story with so much world building and depth to it. It has fantastic characters and side characters with a lot of depth in all the games. There are 6 up to 9 romanceable options in this series. It has great turn-based combat systems, and from the second game onwards also introduces mech combat. This is definitely a super high recommendation from me for any lover of RPG or JRPGs out there. As for the cons for this game, the first game can be a bit boring as most of the time in the first game is set just for world building. The romance also does not start properly, as I can say, until the end of the second game, so you have to wait a bit to get to that stuff. And playing all the games is definitely a must in this. You can't skip any game, so you need to play every single game starting from the first until the fourth to finish the story and to get everything that you want, which could easily take up to 250 or more hours, as each game can easily be over 60 to 70 hours long. And romance is not a big part of the game, but the game endings change slightly depending on your choice. Now the sixth game on the list is the Mass Effect series. This is the best space RPG that was ever made, and I'm pretty sure almost everyone knows about the Mass Effect series at this point, so I don't need to talk too much about it. But let's just move on to the pros. This trilogy is a piece of art when it comes to the story and how it develops. It by far has the best characters and depth and backstories to them. Easily over 10 romanceable options for both the male and female shepherds combined. And yes, this is one game where you can play as a female as well. Combat is great throughout the series, and even most of the side missions are fantastic. This game has a very high replay value because of the fact that choices matter in this game, and you can choose to be a very good person or a badass. Depends on your choice. You can even choose your romance, and depending on your choice, the dialogue changes as well. So definitely very high replay value. Moving on to the cons for this game. Honestly, it's just Andromeda. I would just suggest do not play Mass Effect Andromeda. It just doesn't match up to the standard of the trilogy, so in my opinion, just avoid it. And the second con, which I don't even consider a con, would be that again, you need to play all 3 games in order to achieve the best ending, which again could mean easily above 100 hours of game time, as each game can take over 30 hours to complete. The story is just so good that I don't even think you will see the time as a negative. The 7th game on the list is the Persona series, specifically Persona 3, 4 and 5. Now this one is definitely the best JRPG of all time. It has been proven time and time again, and I'm totally biased for this game, so I'm gonna give this game an 11 or 12 out of 10 for everything. I'm pretty sure a lot of people already know about this game as well, but again, I'm just gonna do my part. So the pros for this game is that it has a ridiculously good story with one of the best soundtracks ever made in gaming history. The characters and side characters run the show. All of them have amazing depth and backstories. And also there are 10 romanceable characters, especially in the last game, the Persona 5 Royal. Dungeon crawling is definitely done right in this game. The combat is great and rarely feels repetitive at all. In fact, I had so much fun playing this game that I've played it over 6 times at this point, which would easily equal around 600 hours of playtime. The social sim elements are fantastic with so many side activities to do, and also dating spots as well. This game has a lot of romance events in it, and not just at the end, so that's why it's also a fantastic game for people, because in here you can actually romance your characters, go on dates with them, and also there are specific story events that also allow for romance options to be involved in them. This game is available on every single console at this point now, so seriously, if you guys haven't played this, you definitely have to. And as for the cons, since I'm so biased, I'm just gonna straight up say it has no cons. You could possibly say that the game is one of the longest games ever made, as Persona 5 Royal is around 120 hours of game time, which I wouldn't even consider a negative at any point, since that time just flew by. This game is just amazing. Now, before we end the video, I just want to mention some honorable mentions. Now, I personally haven't played these games, but I don't want to deny the fact that they are also amazing games with romance options in them. And the final thing that I want to mention is the potential. So there are two games that are on my radar specifically, and I just want to mention them briefly. One of them being Eternights, which is basically an indie game, but it also looks like a Persona type game where dating element is the main part of the game with dungeon crawling as well. The game looks beautiful, the graphics look amazing, and I'm really having high hopes for it to be good, but I can't tell because the game is not out yet. And the second game that I'm really looking forward to is of course Starfield. Now again, I'm pretty sure if it's gonna be good. Gameplay so far looks amazing, so I do have high hopes for both of these games, and I really hope that they turn out to be awesome. I hope you guys found this video entertaining and hopefully found some games that you can play now with romance options in them. And of course, you guys can give me your suggestions and all the games that you have played, which I haven't, in the comments as well. I would love to read them, and I would love to know about the games that I missed. Maybe there are some that I would love to play as well. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.